Today I'm going to be comparing the Nikon FM2 with the Pentax K1000. They're both fully mechanical SLRs with a cult following. The Pentax has been in my family since the early 80s, and its production run went from 1976 to 1997. It was the go-to camera for many photography students. In fact, a lot of them, they were recommended to get this camera. Purely because it's very simple to use and it's easy to get like good results if you know what you're doing. So it really emphasizes the photography. The Nikon, on the other hand, is a semi-professional camera, and it was produced from 1982 to 2001. Now that tells you everything that you need to know about film cameras. People didn't keep upgrading them every year. They used to have them for sometimes decades and keep them running. If they broke, they got them fixed or maybe bought a new compact or something like that. In today's day and age, the fashion is to just keep upgrading, just to keep up with the times. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you end up with much better image quality and better focusing and more features, that kind of thing. But this is basically pure photography. I'll explain the Pentax first. It's this one over here. Now, it's called the K1000 because the shutter speed, maximum shutter speed, is 1,000th. I can't even say that properly. 1,000th of a second. Do you know what I mean? All right. I'm not going to try and say that again. All right. Here we have the top plate of the camera. Okay. Here we have the old thing. And everything is really tactile. Okay, that was on a second. Let's do it on a shorter thing. 125th of a second. It's got a nice clap to it. It's really quite nice. If we open it up, you open them up like this. You just pull this up and pop the back, and it opens. Okay. Fairly straightforward, fairly basic film camera. Most of them are the same. It takes a button battery and it has one of those needle exposure meter things. However, that thing is, this one is broken. I don't know how it broke. There was a battery in there for, it must have been 20 years. It didn't look like it leaked, but a new battery inside of this doesn't work. Purely because it's a very delicate light meter inside of it. It's kind of like a galvanometer. They're not easy to fix. And so when I use this, I use a light meter as well. The first roll of film, I was guesstimating using the Sunny 16 rule. And I don't know what those pictures turned out like. They're still being developed as we speak. So hopefully they turn out okay. The other thing I have to mention, this doesn't have a split prism, which will come in very handy for focusing. Having said that, it's reasonably basic to use, quite easy. You got your aperturing, you got your shutter speed. What more do you need? You got a hot shoe as well, and a PC sync port down here. The Nikon is a lot more advanced. Okay, so let's have a look at the Nikon. I've got a modern lens on here because, at the end of the day, you can use modern lenses on these things. And I've done a separate video extolling the virtues of this camera. It's very nice. Shutter speed goes up to 4,000th of a second. I can say it that time, 4,000th. Okay. In general, it's really nice. Now, you might think already, okay, with the f1.4 lens that it has and the 4,000th of a second shutter speed, that it's much better than the Pentax. But this isn't entirely the case. Okay, and I'll explain how. Also, this has depth of field preview, self-timer, multiple exposure as well. All of those things that the Pentax doesn't have, so it's a lot more feature laden. However, The one thing I have to say about the Pentax is its build quality and the way it feels. Okay, have a listen to this. It sounds okay. It kind of, it's hard to describe the feeling. I wouldn't say it feels cheap, but after using the Pentax has got that nice thunk. It's got a nice thunk and it's got a nice sound to it. Now this, don't get me wrong, isn't necessarily you know, like a good thing, because actually that might put vibrations onto the film. However, having said that, it feels a lot nicer to use a Pentax. Also, another thing, now if I open this back, okay, down here, I don't know if you can see, there's kind of like a little dent where the film can go in and the film is held firmly in place. Now I thought all cameras would have that until I got the Nikon FM2, and when I got this, now this being secondhand, it's got a little button here, it's quite stiff, but it does open. This doesn't have that same dent. It's probably very difficult to see, but it doesn't have the dent. It's got a little indent here which you put the film in, but it doesn't have like a nice little how can I say, like crater kind of thing where the film can like sit in nicely. It's compressed by the back plate. Not that it's a problem, I haven't had any problems with it, but it's nice to see that in the Pentax, and I was surprised not to see it in the Nikon. Having said that, in terms of usage, I do prefer using the Nikon, but can't take anything away from the Pentax. It's got a really nice feel. I would say if you're going to get one, definitely get the Nikon. You've got more options, and had you not used something like a Pentax, you wouldn't feel the need, like you wouldn't be able to pick holes in the tactility of the Nikon, because it is a nicely tactile camera. The Pentax is just better in that sense. That's all I gotta say, really. The Nikon is amazing. That's the only way I can describe it. I'm using that more than I'm using my Sony mirrorless camera, because I just like the feeling of it. That's it. If you've got any comments, just make sure you put it below. Thanks for watching. Bye.